Commission meeting of Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. We are meeting tonight at the Cape Coral Public Library in Cape Coral, Florida. Let's all start with the pledge, and then we'll proceed from there.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Oh, hold on just a minute.
We got to do that again?
Not that part. Okay.
Are we okay?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Everybody remember to smile because we're always on TV. Tonight we're here to take public comment from anybody and everybody that's here or whoever wants to testify on the voluntary annexation proposal that we have. So, is there anybody in the audience that wishes to comment on that? All right. Not seeing any hands or anybody standing up for that. We'll also take public comment tonight on any other issue, so if anybody is here to testify on any other issues. You look like you want to talk. No, that's fine. That's okay. Take your time and relax.
I'm new to this.
Tell us your name first.
Mary Fowler.
Mary.
I live in St. James City, Florida,
Okay.
on Pine Island. I know the water director was supposed to be here this evening. I don't know if he got caught up in traffic.
There's no
Um,
traffic out there.
You don't live on Pine Island. So I'm just curious about the language. This would be a voluntary annexation where the water department chose to come to Cape Coral per se? Is that?
I'm sorry, can you ask that again? What,
Well, in reference to Pine Island's water department, Greater Pine Island Water Association, which services Pine Island, and currently I believe it services parts of Cape Coral. That's the property I have in question. Is this pertains to that, correct?
well, it can, yes, and at the last meeting, I think you referenced the utility provider had come and spoke, and we actually amended some of the language to include them within this proposal. It would come within the scope of the proposed annexation procedure if this were to move forward.
Okay. I just.
Does that answer your question?
I guess.
You sure?
Yes. There's three
You
more
can
meetings,
ask,
right?
questions are free tonight, so, do you have more?
We have 3 more meetings. The locations of where they're going to be held, we also put a list over there as well.
I just found out about this meeting tonight, and I'm curious about the language.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, you're welcome.
Mr. Chair, would it be maybe useful if Joe maybe gave a brief synopsis to the public tonight on what the language would do? And maybe that might help.
Joe?
Sure. So the way that the annexation currently works for voluntary annexation, which is where basically a property owner would petition the city to annex their property into the city. And currently, that is a process between the property owner and the city, and the county doesn't have any involvement in that process. What's been brought forward to this commission are certain issues mostly relating to infrastructure where there is either a perceived or there is a problem with that process without the without the county being involved or without other utility providers being involved. So what this language does is sets up a process either through an interlocal agreement, or if there is no interlocal agreement, an application basically that would need to be filed with either the county or with the city where the property owner would need to show certain, that they meet certain criteria related to the provision of infrastructure prior to them annexing the property into a city. So that's basically what this does. In your reference to the water providers, that is contained in this language to deal with those issues as well, not just county infrastructure. So that's the basic proposal.
Does that help to clarify? Now, do you have any questions? Okay. You're just here to observe? Okay, well, thanks for coming. We appreciate that. All right, so if we don't have any other comments regarding the voluntary annexation, do we have any other public comments from any other issues that they wish to bring up? Any comments from the,
So, I know there's been some changes to recent charters, such as like the 7 Cs, and we're unincorporated, correct? So we kind of deal with our own stuff, and our commissioners deal with other things. And they're made quite a few changes to our charter on Pine Island over the years. Maybe I'm not at the appropriate meeting for that.
Yes, you can answer. If you know.
When are you ready?
Joe.
I can take a shot at it,
Richard?
Joe, if you like. I think I have some.
well, Richard and then Noel. All right, Richard,
Yeah, no.
you got whoever wants to go first.
Well, first of all, Pine Island is part of unincorporated Lee County.
Correct.
And we have what's known as the Lee Plan for Lee County.
Mhm.
And in the Lee Plan itself, it's a comprehensive planning document for all of Lee County. And in that particular master document, there are community plans. And one of the community plans, there's like 26 planning communities that have been designated with boundaries throughout all of Lee County, minus the incorporated areas. And Pine Island has its own Pine Island plan, which has been adopted over and been amended several times over the last 20 years. And in the plan itself, there were residential restrictions that were deemed by the lawyers to be too restrictive.
Correct.
Because a lot of times when people bought property on Pine Island, the property originally, all of the island was zoned 1 unit per 1 acre. And then when the plan was amended back in the 90s, it was amended to be 1 house on 17 acres. Well, that was not defensible, and so the county went to great expense to try to find a compromise. And so what the county did was they hired a law firm out of Tampa to come down, and we had workshops and everything. We had a planning group of which I was a member of. Also, I was chair of the planning committee that wrote the plan. I was the head of the Greater Pine Island Civic Association at the time. And I was also chair of the Lee County Planning Commission, or Lee County Local Planning Agency at the time also. And so in the plan, we revised it to meet what the hurricane evacuation times would be. So now it's 1 home for each 2.7 acres. And the reason we came up with that number was so you couldn't take a 5-acre tract and divide it to 2.5 acre tracts to create 2 home sites. We have a problem on the island in that the capacity of the roads cannot accommodate all of the grandfathered density that's already on the island. Right now, we have over 13,000 platted lots on Pine Island that are grandfathered in, that were platted before the early 1970s, when growth management came into existence in Florida. Before then, there wasn't any growth management. And so, as a consequence, something we're going to start focusing on Pine Island is the fact that
there's a bonus density for developers who want to take density, buy density from property owners on Pine Island and take it to the mainland, where they can get 2 units for each one they purchase. So it's a very liberal system that the county came up with as part of our revised Pine Island plan. So all of this, we've worked together with the county very well. The county's really served us well over the years. And so right now, that's the status of growth on the island. But there's another issue that a lot of people are concerned about now on the island. I live on the island also.
I hear you referencing it, and I know I go to the GTI meetings and GTI.
And that is the development orders were granted back in the 1980s. We're sitting there with all these development orders that were granted in the 1980s.
With no expiration.
And people have been just every 5 years renewing them. And, but there doesn't seem to be with the different bills that have been passed by the legislature in the last year or so, there doesn't seem to be much flexibility on the part of the county to change that process. But, so I would say that that's the biggest concern right now about Pine Island is what do we do about these development orders that were approved when we had less traffic, less density, everything. But those are issues that we're working on, and those are issues that we've met with the county commissioners about, and we don't have any easy answers at this time, but we're working on those issues, and hopefully we can promote the, it's called a TDR, Transferable Development Right, and hopefully we can get the word out about those rights so we can get more people utilizing those rights and take some of this density off the island, because you can't spend any federal or state money to widen the roads through a National Historic District. So they can't do that. They can't widen Pine Island Road. And some years ago, there was a second bridge in the plan. You have a capital improvement plan for the county. And in that plan, it's a 5-year plan that's mandated for each county to do by the state. You have to allocate where you're going to spend your money on what projects over a 5-year period. Well, that bridge is not even in the 20-year plan, because originally the bridge was supposed to go Cape Coral Parkway. The easement's still there on the western end, and they're going to take it across Matlacha Pass to where the little substation is and where the sewer plant is on Pine Island. That's where the road was going to be.
Okay.
And but right now that's off the table, so we have to live with what we have, which is Pine Island Road, which is a 2-lane road, and it cannot be widened with state or federal funds.
Thank you for the history lesson.
Thank you for the knowledge.
Richard, do you have anything?
Take a few minutes to be at the end, if you don't mind.
I'll cover it better than I could have ever covered.
Nothing else?
Come on, Richard.
Come on, you can do it.
Anybody on the board have any questions, comments? Short meeting?
So the next meeting will be February 27th at Veterans Park, Parks and Rec Center in Lehigh. Oh, yes, sir?
I'll be out of town that day, so I won't be able to make that. If you're looking for a quorum maker, it won't be me.
And so will Mary Ann.
Okay. Anybody else dropping out? That's why there are 4 of these public hearings, because we need a quorum. If there is no quorum, there is no public hearing. So just to make sure we comply with the ordinance. Okay? So I encourage the rest of us to be there, so we don't have to go for a 5th meeting.
We all can find our way to Lehigh.
Doug is like, what?
Can we put it on the phone? I promise. Next, she's gonna come over and hit me with a stick. I mean, it could be worse.
Can you attend by phone?
I understand it's a good distance,
But not now.
Well, it's only depending where you live.
but for some of us, it's a good distance. But I encourage the rest of us to show up and attend these hearings. Otherwise, we'll have to stick some meetings in places and people won't necessarily like that.
Any other comments? Now I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We're done.
Thank you all for coming.